Hi students, welcome to this class. Today we are going to study about transportation in animals and plants. You have learned earlier that all organisms need food, water and oxygen for survival. They need to transport all these to various parts of their body. Further, animals need to transport waste to parts from where they can be removed. Have you wondered how all this is achieved? Look at this figure. Do you see the heart and the blood vessels? They function to transport substances and together form the circulatory system. So, in this chapter, you shall learn about transport of substances in animals and plants. So, first of all, you should know that what is meant by circulatory system. If anything is circulated in the body, we need different organs. So, a circulatory system in humans consists of blood, blood vessels, and heart. So, heart, blood, and blood vessels. In blood vessels, there are three parts. One is arteries, another one veins, and capillaries. Let's see one by one in detail. First of all, we see blood. So, what is meant by blood? Why blood is red in color? Blood is a red colored fluid that flows in the blood vessels. It transports digested food from the small intestine to other parts of the body. It also transports oxygen from the lungs to cells of the body and carbon dioxide from tissues to lungs. Blood is a special tissue that consists of the different cells. So the first one is red blood cells. So the blood is a fluid which consists of red blood cells, white blood cells, plasma and platelets. So red blood cells means they are the cells which are red colored because they contain red pigment called hemoglobin. Hemoglobin binds with oxygen and transports it to all parts of the body and ultimately to all the cells. It will be difficult to provide oxygen efficiently to all the cells of the body without hemoglobin. So, the presence of hemoglobin makes the blood appear red. Now, the next one is white blood cells. The white blood cells are irregular in shape. They do not contain hemoglobin. They are bigger than RBC, but they are few in number. Now, their main function is they fight against the germs that may enter our body. Now, the third one is platelets. These are cell fragments that help in the clotting of the blood. They release various substances to stop bleeding at the site of the wound. So, we have three different types of cells in the blood. They are red blood cells, white blood cells, and platelets. So, how these cells move from one place to another? So, the fourth thing is there, that is a plasma. It is the it is a fluid part of the blood that is composed of water, proteins, and lipids. So, the red blood cells, white blood cells, and platelets are carried from one organ to another by the help of the plasma. Now, the next one is blood vessels. So, you know that this is the blood, how they move from one part to another part by the help of these blood vessels. The blood vessels there are three types. One is arteries, veins, and capillaries. So, the blood flows in the body through the long tube-like pipes called blood vessels, arteries, veins, and capillaries. So, the arteries always they carry blood from the heart to all other parts of the heart. All other parts means they carry blood away from the heart. They are thick walled and they are placed under the skin, deeply placed under the skin, and the blood moves under high pressure. There are no valves. You see the walls, they are thick. Now the next one is veins. The veins, they carry blood to the heart. Means from all other parts they bring the impure blood to the heart. They have thinner walls. They are superficially placed and blood does not move under pressure. There are a series of valves present in veins. These prevents the blood from flowing back to the organs. Now the third one is capillaries. The capillaries are very thin walled blood vessels that connect arteries which are red in color, and veins, they are bluish in color. The walls of the capillaries are so thin that the diffusion of gases and chemical substances takes place very easily. The capillaries help to distribute oxygenated blood from arteries to organs and deoxygenated blood from organs to veins. So, we have studied what is blood, what are the components of blood, what are the functions of blood. Now, then how the blood is taken, otherwise the pathway to transport nutrients and oxygen in the body by the blood vessels. So, now let's see the main organ, that is the heart. The heart is an organ which beats continuously to act as a pump for the transport of the blood, which carries other substances. The heart is located in the chest cavity with its lower tip slightly tilted towards the left. Hold your fingers inwards on your palm. That makes your fist. Your heart is roughly the size of your fist. What will happen if the blood rich in oxygen and the blood rich in carbon dioxide mix with each other? To avoid this from happening, the heart has 4 chambers. The heart has 4 chambers. That is, the upper 2 chambers are called auricles, otherwise atria. The lower 2 chambers are called ventricles. The partition between the chambers help to avoid mixing up of the blood rich in oxygen. So you know that the heart is made up of 4 chambers. The upper 2 chambers are atria, means in singular atrium, and the lower 2 chambers are called ventricles. Now let's see how the blood flows, otherwise blood is circulated by the throbbing of the heart. The throbbing movement caused by the flow of blood in arteries is called the pulse. So the number of time the pulse beats in a minute is called pulse rate. Generally, a person at rest has a pulse rate of about 72 to 80 beats per minute. So now let's see how this throbbing sound is produced when the blood flows. First of all, you know that the veins carry all impure blood from all parts of the body towards the right side of the heart. So the carbon dioxide which is produced by the cells as waste enters the blood through capillaries which joins the veins. The veins carry deoxygenated carbon dioxide rich blood to the heart. This deoxygenated blood enters the right auricle. So right side you see it is bluish in color. That shows it is impure. So right side, the right auricle, the vena cava bring all impure blood. When the right auricle contracts, the deoxygenated blood goes to the right ventricle. On contraction of the right ventricle, deoxygenated blood goes to the lungs through the pulmonary artery. You have studied arteries carry blood from the heart to the all other parts of the body. But here, this pulmonary artery is exceptional. It carries the deoxygenated blood from the heart to lungs. The blood absorbs fresh oxygen from the air we breathe in and becomes oxygenated in the lungs. So, in the lungs, the blood is purified. Now, the pulmonary vein carries this oxygenated blood from the lungs to the left atrium of the heart. When the left auricle contracts, the oxygenated blood goes into the left ventricle. On contraction of the left ventricle, the oxygenated blood is pumped into the main artery called aorta. You can see in the picture. So the aorta is the main pipe which carries the pure blood from the heart to all other parts. These arteries supply oxygenated blood to all organs of the body. So thus the cycle is repeated. Now you know that every time the walls of the chambers of the hearts are made up of muscles. These muscles contract and relax rhythmically. This rhythmic contraction followed by its relaxation constitute a heartbeat. Remember that heartbeats continue every moment of our life. If you place your hand on the left side of your chest, you can feel your heartbeat. The doctor feels your heartbeats with the help of an instrument called stethoscope. Doctor uses the stethoscope as a device to amplify the sound of the heart. It consists of a chest piece that carries a sensitive diaphragm, two earpieces, and a tube joining the parts. The doctors can get clues about the condition of your heart by listening through a stethoscope. So this one, by seeing activity 11.2, you can make your own stethoscope at home. Now next one we'll see excretion in animals. Let's see how the removal of waste and other substances takes place in our body. Recall how carbon dioxide is removed as waste from the body through the lungs during exhalation. Also recall that the undigested food is removed during the digestion. Let us now find out how the other waste materials are removed from the body. You may wonder where these unwanted materials come from. When our cells perform their functions, certain waste products are released. These are toxic and hence need to be removed from the body. The process of removal of waste produced in the cells of the living organism is called excretion. The parts involved in the excretion form the excretory system. So now study the human excretory system. The waste which is present in the blood has to be removed from the body. How can this be done? A mechanism to filter the blood is required. This is done by the blood capillaries in the kidneys. When the blood reaches to kidneys, it contains both useful and harmful substances. The useful substances are absorbed back into the blood. The waste dissolved in water are removed as urine. From the kidneys, the urine goes into the urinary bladder through the tube-like ureters. It is stored in the bladder and is passed out through the urinary opening at the end of the muscular tube called urethra. So you have seen this kidneys through the blood vessels. The kidneys absorb the blood and the waste is passed through the ureter and it is collected in the urinary bladder. When the urinary bladder is full, then it is passed through the urethra. The kidneys, ureters, bladder and the urethra form the excretory system. An adult human being normally passes about 1 liter to 1.8 liter of urine in 24 hours. The urine consists of 95% of water, 2.5% of urea, and 2.5% of other waste. We have all experienced that we sweat on a hot summer day. The sweat contains water and salts. You must have seen the white patches are formed on our clothes, especially in areas like underarms. These marks are left by salts present in the sweat. Does sweat serve any other function? Yes. We know that the water kept in an earthen pot is cooler. This is because the water evaporates from the pores of the pot, which causes cooling. So, if our kidneys are not functioning properly, what problem will arise? Sometimes a person's kidneys may stop working due to infection or injury. As a result of kidney failure, the waste products start accumulating in the blood. Such persons cannot survive unless their blood is filtered periodically through an artificial kidney. So, this process is called dialysis. You must have heard that many are going for dialysis very often in the hospital. Now, next we'll see how the transport of substances taking place in plants. In chapter 1, you learned that the plants take water and mineral nutrients from the soil through the roots and transport it to the leaves. The leaves prepare food for the plant using water and carbon dioxide during photosynthesis. You also learned in chapter 10 that the food is the source of energy and every cell of an organism gets energy by the breakdown of glucose. The cells use this energy to carry out vital activities of life. Therefore, food must be made available to every cell of an organism. Have you ever wondered how water and nutrients absorbed by the root are transported to the leaves? How is the food prepared by the leaves carried to the parts which cannot make food? You know that plants absorb water and minerals by the roots. The roots have root hair. The root hair increases the surface area of the root for the absorption of water and mineral nutrients dissolved in water. So here, the nutrients from the soil is transported by the vessels, special cells forming the vascular tissue. A tissue is a group of cells that perform specialized function in an organism. The vascular tissue for the transport of water and nutrients in the plant is called the xylem. You can see here the xylem and phloem. So the xylem carries water and nutrients to the plants from the root to all parts of the cell plant. The xylem forms the continuous network of channels that connects roots to the leaves through the stem and branches and thus transport water to entire plant. Now, you know that the leaves prepares food. The food has to be transported to all parts of the plant. This is done by the vascular tissue called phloem. Thus, xylem and phloem transport substances in plants. The next process, that is transpiration. That how transpiration takes place from the leaves. You know that water is absorbed by the root hairs and it goes up to the stem till the leaves. So this sucking power, the sucking of water from the roots to the leaves is done by transpiration. So, transpiration, you have studied the evaporation of water from leaves generates a suction pull. So, which can pull the water to great heights in the tall trees. And the transpiration also cools the plant. Thus, the transpiration helps the transportation of water in the plants. So, here you have studied the transportation in human, that is the blood transportation. What is meant by blood, how it is transported through different blood vessels, how the heart functions, and the excretion process, excretory system of human beings, and how the transportation takes place in plants. So read the lesson and try to complete your objectives from the textbook. Thank you.